If I had to win my fantasy basketball league again, I would be drafting Zion Williamson.
Zion.
Here's why top fantasy managers are betting their entire season on him. We believe every NBA fan should play fantasy basketball. Now let's take a look at Zion's fantasy career so we can see why people are so scared to draft him.
Stay away from him.
So we're back here on #basketball, and as you can see here, we have the breakdown of how many games Zion Williamson has played in his career. We also have some fantasy stats here, including the categories that are important to fantasy basketball. But let's start with the games played. 2021, your man Zion Williamson played 61 freaking games.
Yes, sir.
He averaged 27 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 0.9 steals, 0.6 blocks, and 2.7 turnovers. He had a monstrous season. Then in 2022, 2023, he only played 29 games. He still shot a remarkable 60% from the field, 26 points a game, 7 rebounds, 4.6 assists. So you can see the trend here. He plays, he doesn't play. He plays, he doesn't play. In 2023, 2024, he played 70 games, averaged 31.5 minutes per game, shot 57% from the field, 22.9 points per game, which was a big dip from his previous years, 5.8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.1 steals per game, and 0.7 blocks. This is the part of Zion's career where people started to question his dedication, his health, his commitment to being on the floor. And a lot of it had to do with off-court activities, if you catch my drift.
I be in the club.
Last season in 24-25, Zion only played 30 games. Let that sink in. In those 30 games, he did produce 56% from the field, 24.6 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 1.2 steals, and almost a block a game. This chart is his game-by-game output. If you see this long line right here, those are the majority of the games that Zion was out. But you can see there's a lot of fluctuation, a lot of inconsistency here, and this is what we don't want to see from Zion. I believe, though, this is the season that he will get this on track. If you're new around here, I'm Robin Marks. I used to work at NBC Sports Roto World, #basketball, and I'm a member of the Fantasy Sports Writers Association. Now I work for you. People forget that Zion Williamson was literally busting out of his shoes because of his power and torque. Torque? Did I say torque or torque? I meant torque, not twerk. Oh my God. Any way you look at it, this guy is the type of player that is a generational athletic talent. We saw it in high school. We've seen it in college. And even in the NBA, we've seen little glimpses of his potential. Now, he has been branded with the injury-prone tag. He's been branded with the not committed, not disciplined or dedicated tag. And most importantly, he has been on the cusp of being called a bust. Zion Williamson, a guy who was one of the most exciting prospects in NBA history. Do you remember when he came into the league? That first preseason game he had, and Giannis and him went up and he snatched the ball from Giannis and Giannis hit the ground. That is the Zion Williamson we have been waiting to see. And what I want to let you know is that despite the painful history that I've experienced as a Zion Williamson Dynasty fantasy manager, right? I can't let him go. He's on my team. He's always banged up. And I've been dealing with the pain and misery and torture of having to watch him just sit on my bench, sit in my IR, and effectively just be a waste of space, right? While I'm watching all of the stuff on the internet about him being in a club with the baddies, him having relationships with Instagram models and all of this other stuff except for basketball. Now, I have hope with this new version of Zion Williamson that this is an opportunity for us to finally reap the benefits of this guy's generational, freakish athletic ability. So let's jump right into the data to figure out what's happening when it comes to fantasy basketball drafts and where people are selecting Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson is currently going at 45.9 on Yahoo. Now, I will note Yahoo's brand new default setting is for their high score points league format. It's a brand new format. If you want to learn more about it, I do have a video. I'll put a link over here so you guys can check that out. And they also are taking data from their traditional points leagues as well as their roto leagues and their category leagues. Yahoo is making a freaking jambalaya for fantasy basketball. They take all of these different rankings, put it in a spot, hit it with a little seasoning like the Salt Bay, and they stir it on up to present it to you. So Zion going at 45.9 on Yahoo. If that's popping up for your points leagues, I think you can take advantage of that. I would grab him a little earlier than that. Now, for ESPN, it's a different story. There are more points league players. There are smaller leagues on ESPN. We see a lot of 8-man leagues, 10-man leagues on ESPN. We even see a bunch of 6-teamers, but we have a bunch of points leagues players there. So I think that this data is leaning towards the points league model. However, unlike Yahoo, when you go to mock draft, you can actually pick what type of league you'd like to mock draft for. So they give you the opportunity to do a roto league, a category league, or a points league. However, when they gather all of this data, it's all lumped up together, very similar to Yahoo. So at 33.8, I think that's a little closer to where I would be looking at Zion Williamson. Now for Fantrax are elite fantasy basketball sickos. These are people who do not sleep when it comes to fantasy basketball. And we have more category leagues there than anything else. And his ADP right now is 42.7, which is kind of in the middle between ESPN and Yahoo. And last, we have, of course, the blended score, which is 40.8 for Zion Williamson. So across the board, we see a player that really has like top 20 upside, maybe even top 15 upside specifically for a points league. And seeing him go in this area, there's a lot of opportunity here. Really quick, I wanted to let you know that we have a community that is here to help you win your fantasy basketball league. Whether you play in a category league, a points league, lock-in mode, or the new high score format from Yahoo, we are here to support. All you have to do is visit BelieveInFantasy.com. And while you're at it, please like and subscribe and hit the hype button. I know you've been wanting some advanced data, so we're going to jump into a deep dive for Zion Williamson. If you're new to advanced data, we're going to be looking at Darko. Darko refers to a predictive player performance metric known as daily adjusted and regressed Kalman optimized projections, or daily plus minus, which uses machine learning, box score stats, and plus minus data to estimate and predict a player's future impact. So for context, a plus 2.0 is like all-star level. A plus 3.0 is like a very good player. And then you have a plus 4 or plus 5, which is an elite, legendary production type of player. So let's take a look at Zion's Darko over the last couple of years. You can see here in 2020, he had a 1.0, which is not that impressive, but it is positive. In 2021, he had 1.79. We're getting better, right? Then in 2023, 2.15. That is all-star level. Then in 2024, back to 1.07. And then 2025, 1.65. Let's take a look at his offensive Darko. We're right here at ODPM. In 2025, 1.7. In 2024, 1.5. And check this out. In 2023, 2.6. 2022, 2.3, 2021, 2.7, and then 2020, 2.2. I wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to illustrate the dominance that this guy has exhibited over the years. The issue is he don't play, but imagine if he did. So I know what you're thinking, Robin, where should I take Zion Williamson? Where do you have him? I need to know. Don't worry, I got you. So here we are. These are my personal points league rankings. If you want access to them, all you have to do is join the community at BelieveInFantasy.com. Now, It's worth noting that I do a blended, right, kind of score between Yahoo and ESPN. So that way folks who play in points leagues can have like a general reference point. Now, I am crazy high on Zion Williamson, and not like just Cheech and Chong, Redman, Method Man, Cypress Hill high. No, I am like bath salt zombie high on Zion Williamson. As you can see here, I have Zion Williamson at 30, which is higher than Yahoo, Fantrax, and even ESPN. Now, if he falls to me later in the draft, I am completely fine with that. But Zion, this season, I don't give a shih tzu puppy. I'm reaching. Hey, yo. Bonus tip, I would not pair Zion Williamson with an Anthony Davis, with a player like Kawhi Leonard, with Joel Embiid, with LaMelo Ball. You don't want two potential injury risks on the same team. Okay. So I know you need some convincing. So let me break down a pros and con list so you can make your own educated decision about Zion Williamson. So let's break down the pros and cons of Zion Williamson. So we'll go ahead and start with Zion, excuse my handwriting here, guys. Williamson. Okay, so we'll do Zion Williamson. We'll start with pros, and then we'll do cons. For my people listening at home, I am actually writing on my iPad notepad here. Pad. Let's go. Okay, first things first. For pros, especially if you're in a category league, I think we're talking field goal percentage. That is an absolute win. The next pro is that there's no DeJounte right now, which is going to be a huge opportunity for him. And also, you can even add there's no Ingram. Ingram is out of town. He's in Toronto, which makes it clear that Zion is that guy. Another thing we want to be mindful of that is a pro is the fact that Zion's contract, right? His actual contract, which I think is like $90 million, some crazy amount. I don't have it written down here, but his contract requires him to be on the floor to be healthy. So there's stipulations within his contract that require him to be healthy. So now it's time. It's now or never. Now we got 4 good pros here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a check by all 4 of these pros. Now let's talk about some cons for Zion Williamson. The first con is injury, right? Like that is probably the biggest one of all, that the guy just can't stay healthy. As you saw when we took a look at his fantasy history, your man just don't play. The other thing that I wanted to note, did I put injure it? Oh my Lord, I got to get my stuff together, guys. I really got to get my stuff. For my people at home, I just wrote injure it. What is that? So the other thing, the other con, I should say, for Zion Williamson, injury is one thing, but it's also food and health, right? So I would even put those as 2 separate issues. Injuries are going to happen. He can't control that. But what he can control is food and health. And we don't want to sit here and weight shame anybody. Like if he wants to gain weight, that's up to him. But for fantasy purposes, we want to encourage this brother to stay healthy. And the last thing is dedication. Is Zion committed to this new look Zion, this fit Zion, the way he's been looking in preseason? Are we going to get this consistently throughout the season? And that's all the cons that I have. So we have 3 cons for Zion, and we have 4 pros for Zion. I'm going to go the pros win, and I'm drafting Zion Williamson. Now that you have the information you need to make a decision about Zion Williamson, check out this video about our must-draft sleepers.